My little brother Jamie's first word wasn't mama or dada, it was my name, Theo. That should tell you everything you need to know about my childhood. While other kids my age were stressing about prom dates, I stressed about packing school lunches and checking my siblings' homework. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because seeing Jamie and my sister Katie smile automatically made every sacrifice worth it. Plus, our parents had more important things to do. Mom discovered her passion for multi-level marketing schemes and wine clubs when Jamie was still in diapers. She'd lock herself in the home office making vision boards while Jamie cried in his crib. Dad found his escape through work trips with his secretary Rebecca, who seemed to accompany him on every single one. But honestly, I preferred it that way, because it forced me to do things I wouldn't have done otherwise. Every time my parents forgot a parent-teacher conference or Katie's dance recital, I got to be there instead. I got to be the reason their faces lit up. I opened a savings account the day I turned 16 and deposited every dollar from my part-time job, knowing we'd need it when Mom inevitably drained the grocery budget on another failed business venture. And for a while, our system worked perfectly. I'd wake up at 5:30 to pack lunches and check homework while our parents slept off their hangovers. The kids never went hungry, never missed an assignment, never felt unloved, and to me, that was all that mattered. But at Jamie's high school graduation, something insane happened. Me and my family all attended together. Mom even wore something other than yoga pants, and Dad left his phone in his pocket for a full 10 minutes. They sat in the front row like they'd earned those seats, posting photos with captions about their brilliant son. When he walked across the stage, tears were streaming down my face. I felt like I was watching my own child grow up, and 5,000 name calls later, it was finally time to leave. Or so I thought, because that's when Jamie got up on stage to give a speech. This speech isn't about me, he started. It's about the person who made sure I'd be standing here today. He found me in the crowd, and we locked eyes. I wiped my tears away out of embarrassment. When I was 6, I broke my arm falling off the monkey bars. The person who rushed me to the hospital was my brother Theo, who was only 13 and had to convince the nurses he was old enough to sign the paperwork. The auditorium fell silent. Even the rustling of programs stopped. Most kids learn to ride bikes with their parents. I learned in an empty parking lot at 6 a.m. because Theo worked nights to buy me that bike, and early morning was the only time he had free. Mom's phone slipped from her hand and clattered on the floor. Dad's jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. "So, Mom and Dad," Jamie said in a gentle, light-hearted tone, "thank you for giving me the best role model I could ask for." He raised his diploma toward me. "This is yours as much as mine, Theo. Actually, it's more yours, because while you were raising us, you gave up your own chance at being a kid." Whispers rippled through the crowd. Our extended family members were turning to stare at my parents. Aunt Helen's mouth had fallen open. Uncle Robert was shaking his head slowly, connecting dots from years of missed family gatherings. The applause started slowly, then built to thunder. After the ceremony, our relatives swarmed us. Not our parents, just us. Grandma grabbed my face in her weathered hands, sobbing apologies for not realizing sooner. "We thought you were just being a helpful big brother," she wept. My parents fled before the reception ended, their carefully maintained image shattered beyond repair. But they weren't done with me. 48 hours later, I was helping Katie practice for her dance recital when the doorbell rang. 2 women in pink suits stood on my porch, CPS badges glinting in the afternoon sun. My blood turned to ice water. They pushed past me like I wasn't even there, documenting everything with phones and notepads. The medication chart I'd created to track Jamie's ADHD prescriptions became evidence of unauthorized medical decisions. The birthday calendar with everyone's doctor's appointments was assuming parental authority without legal standing. Even the fully stocked refrigerator was somehow twisted into overcompensation for neglect. And suddenly, everything made sense. Because as they made calls about emergency placement orders, the woman said, "Yes, the biological parents called in the report. They're willing to resume full custody immediately." Katie clutched my leg as the CPS workers photographed her artwork on the refrigerator. Her tiny fingers dug into my jeans while she whispered something I couldn't quite hear. The taller worker bent down, her phone camera clicking rapidly. The woman straightened up and typed something into her tablet. I watched her fingers move across the screen, documenting Katie's behavior as potential coaching by sibling. My stomach churned as I realized they were twisting everything, even a scared child seeking comfort. Through the window, I spotted Dad's Mercedes pulling into the driveway. He stepped out wearing a charcoal suit I'd never seen before, his phone pressed to his ear. Mom emerged from the passenger side, already typing on her phone. Within seconds, her Facebook post appeared on my feed notification, "Fighting for my babies against false accusations. Prayer warriors needed." I glanced at the post while the CPS workers continued their inspection. Mom had tagged 37 people and somehow managed to misspell Jamie's middle name as Michael instead of Michael, the same middle name she'd given him after her father. Dad strode through the front door without knocking, his voice carrying the authority of someone who'd been practicing. He rattled off something about parental rights and due process while pulling documents from his briefcase. The CPS workers barely glanced up from their tablets. I tried explaining the medication chart to the shorter worker, pointing out how I'd color-coded Jamie's ADHD medications to prevent missed doses. My hands shook as I showed her the backup alarms I'd set on my phone. She asked for power of attorney documents. The words caught in my throat. We'd never thought to get any. Why would we? I'd been handling everything since I was 13. Grandma's car screeched into the driveway next. She burst through the door, demanding to take the children immediately. Her face was flushed, and she kept pressing her hand to her chest. Then she swayed slightly, reaching for the wall. She needed her diabetes medication. I knew the signs. Her blood sugar was dropping fast. The medication was in her purse, but she'd need food too. I glanced between her and the filing cabinet where I kept years of documentation. Every second I spent helping her was a second Mom could use to manipulate the situation. I chose Grandma. I grabbed her medication from her purse and rushed to the kitchen for orange juice and crackers. Behind me, I heard Mom's voice, syrupy sweet, promising Katie a puppy if she came to live with Mommy and Daddy. She mentioned a pink bedroom, all Katie's own.